So I finished with all my roll searching, and I pulled out all my finds, and here we go. On the dollar coins, I didn't find any actual varieties, but I did pull out a couple specimens just to explain some things on them, and they're a set of Susan B. Anthony's. In 1979, they had two varieties, a wide rim and a narrow rim. The wide rim is a scarcer variety and can catch a pretty nice premium. So what I did is I pulled out a 1979 and a 1980 because in 1980 they switched to nothing but the wide rim. And to tell the difference between a wide and narrow rim, if you have a narrow rim 79 and put it up against a wide rim 80, you could totally see the difference. And the best way to tell is by the numeral 1 in the date. Let's see here. You see how there's a fairly large space. Right, let's see if I can point this out here. Right here from the rim and the 1. And on the 80, if you look here, that gap is much narrower. I won't keep these coins just because, I don't know, nobody liked them in the first place. So in high grades, I usually pull them out, but these ones pretty scuffed up, so they'll be back into circulation. Okay, on to the quarters. For the quarters, I did find 3 of the 76 bicentennials. 2 of them were Denvers and 1 of Philadelphia. On the Denvers, you can find some really nice DDOs. I think there's 2 different kinds on the front that are fairly collectible and can actually catch a pretty good premium if in high grades. None of these are those, so 76 is my birth year, so I do save all my bicentennials. A lot of people save every coin that they find from their birth year, but if I was to be searching half dollars, that would be fruitless because I'd have so many of them it wasn't even funny. I will keep these just because, like I said, the 76 bicentennial quarters are probably one of my favorite quarter designs, and I will put those aside for my collection. Next on the list is I found 3 2009 territorial quarters. These are a low mintage year, so I usually pull them aside. All 3 of these are Denver minted. And on the Virgin Island, they only minted 41 million of them. On the Puerto Rico, the Denver, they minted 86 million. And then, where it is here? The Marina Island one, they minted 3.52 million. And I do believe out of all the territorial 2009 quarters, that is the lowest of the mintage. I usually keep these and put them in rolls and sell them for a little over the 25-cent value. Next on the list is a 2018 America the Beautiful Philadelphia minted North Dakota quarter. They're not real valuable to find these kind of varieties. You can kind of see on the back of this one it has a slight misaligned die, but they are also known for quite a few interior die breaks, one being named the Horse's Booger. It's kind of hard to see with this image, so I'll pop it up on my laptop and show you some close-ups. Be right back. Okay, as you can see on this image, on the top of Theodore Roosevelt's hat, this is the biggest one I've found so far. They get an interior die break right here. Some of them I've been told or have seen can actually encompass this right here, this whole area. This, like I said, is one of my biggest ones I found so far. I'll show you the next one. Here on the ruffles on Theodore Roosevelt's glove, you can see right over here is a giant die brake, interior die brake I should say. And then the next one, right here, they call this the horse's booger. This right here, supposed to be a nostril, and it has an interior die chip that covers this whole nostril. Also on these, if you look right down in here along the reins, a nice size die crack develops. This one is missing it. I do have a few with it, but for the sake of time and I didn't want to pull it out to show it, so maybe on another video. On to the next quarter. I found this 2000, whoops, never mind, this is still a North Dakota one, LOL. Okay, so as I was saying, I found this 2000 Massachusetts Philadelphia minted state quarter. I noticed around the edge it's got some missing material. See if I can zoom in so I can get a better picture for you. As you can see, I wish it would focus a little better, but it's not going to. There's some, it's got a real weird, I don't want to say gouge, but almost like it's missing material in the border there. Not exactly sure what it's called, but from all the videos I've watched, people usually point out that if it doesn't look right, put it aside. So, whoops, sorry about the shaky video there. So I did. I don't know, maybe you can leave a comment below and tell me what the heck it is. On to the next one. Okay, so I found this 1977 Washington quarter. And looking at it, you can see it looks copper on both sides. I know some quarters can be look like this. They can either be struck on a penny, but with a struck on penny you would definitely see a lot less material around the edge, and the Liberty and date and everything else, front and back, the lettering would be slipping right off the edge. I don't have a scale to weigh it, so I don't know if it would actually weigh the 3.1 grams as a penny. I'm pretty sure it wouldn't. But they can be missing the clad layer. I don't believe this one is, just because you can kind of see some, where somebody probably took some acid and ate that layer off. Nevertheless, it was a cool find. It's the first one I've ever found quarter-wise that was missing its clad layer. I did find a nickel, though, a 2012, that's missing the clad layer on the back, or I should say it's completely copper on the back, that you cannot see any etching from any kind of chemical. So I may send that one in because it does have really nice luster, and hopefully it comes back as authentic. Okay, I'll move on to my nickels. Okay, so for the nickels, I found this. Let's get it in the light here. 41. It's in pretty tough shape. Minted in Denver. I do believe there's just over 50 million of these minted. So my low to semi-low Jefferson nickels, I pull them aside and I save them. A lot of the 40s I do keep. Next we got a $50, oh, hang on here, this might be easier. $59 Denver, and a 57 Denver. They're both in pretty rough shape, and I've got a ton of them, so I probably won't keep them. I did find this 1970 San Francisco that's in fairly good shape, so I'll probably check it against my album just to make sure it ain't an upgrade. If not, I'll throw it back. And then I also found this 83. I don't keep a lot of my misaligned dies, but if you look right here along the edge of this side, it's got a ton of extra material, and this side here is actually kind of missing a little bit of the edge of Liberty. This one's pretty extreme. I might keep this one. The back, it's a misaligned die because if you look at the back to the front, the back is fairly normal. Oh, I might have to take a closer look at this one now, but I do believe it's just a misaligned die. Pretty cool. I might keep this one. And then I found, for foreigns, I found a, what is that, a 98 or a 3? My eyes are getting so bad I can't wait to get my glasses. I do believe it was a 98. For Canadians, I usually only really I keep them, of course, because you can't take them back because the banks won't take them back. But on the 1990, a cool variety is right here on the belly. They overpolish the die, and it's called the Bellyless Beaver. I haven't found one yet, so I keep an eye out for those. Cool. And then for the find of the day, I was super excited when I found this. It's a 1936 Buffalo nickel, and 36 is known to have a really nice variety called the 3.5 leg Buffalo if it's the Denver Mint. So when I flipped it over, I noticed it definitely was a Denver Mint, but as you can see, the front leg was there, so it is definitely not the 3.5 legged Buffalo. There is also a couple other varieties for the 36 Denver Buffalo. They're both mint mark varieties. There's a RPM FS 502 D over D, and then there's an OMM on over mint mark D over S FS 511. Regardless to say, neither one of those are there either. And then as I was looking at it, I thought it was in pretty good shape at first when I seen it, but then I looked and seen, if you look right here, I thought at first it just had a nice big ugly gouge down the belly of the Buffalo, but then under magnification I realized it's something else. It's hard to see with the cam on my phone here, so let me pop up my picture on my laptop and I'll show you what I actually found out what it was. Okay, so right here, from here to here, it looks like it's got a giant gouge. But under closer examination, it turns out it's actually a lamination error. This part right here is missing the lamination. If you look here, it's still got the lamination. And I'll pop up one more picture for you. That lamination stretches all the way from here through to here and here. You can see this one was about ready to flake off, but it was retained. Kind of a cool variety, so another one to add to the collection. Okay, so on to the pennies. I did end up finding this 1942 King George. A 56 Elizabeth Younghead. A 64, I do believe this is also considered a Younghead. And then the 73. '76. Two 78s, a 79, 91, 95, 96, and the newest of the bunch was a 2005. Being in North Dakota, close to the Canadian border, I do end up finding a lot of Canadian pennies in my boxes. Let's move on to the wheats. So, for wheat pennies, I found this 1934 Denver minted wheat penny. It's in pretty tough shape, but out of all the wheats I found out of this bundle, the 34D, I do believe they considered a semi-key date because it only had 28.4 million minted of it. I found this Toasty 46D, pretty rough shape. This 46P looks to be kind of red, but I do believe at one point in its time in its life it was cleaned. Two, or I guess one I should say, 55, you can see that, San Francisco. Now on the San Francisco, it's another fairly low mintage year at 44.6 mil. This 55 Denver, I checked it for the RPM, it doesn't have it, and the 55 Denver does have some decent double dies to them too, but this one didn't have it. Not one, but two 57 Denver minted wheats. And finally, I found this 58D Denver mint, and after putting it under the scope, I found that it had an RPM. It's hard to see here, so I'll pop it up on my laptop again and let you guys take a peek. So here is the close-up of the RPM. I do believe this is RPM 007, and you can see right up here and right down here the remnants of the RPM, or the repunchment mark, and I do believe this one is a rotated counterclockwise one. And here's another picture. It's a pretty beat up coin, but it's a cool find nonetheless. So now on to the last of my finds. I found a 69S, not RPM, or sorry, double die. Two 70S, not double dies, but I guess I shouldn't say not double dies. I'll show you on my laptop a picture of this 70S. The machine doubling on the date is pretty cool. Give me a second, let me pop that up and I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, so on the 70S I noticed right around here on the 9, here on the 7, the top of the O, and parts of the S has some pretty extreme, machine doubling on it. I don't know if this is caused from die deterioration or overworking of the die, but pretty cool. I'll save that one. As for that, I do save all my S minted pennies, mainly because I like the design of the S mint mark. Plus, it's the first letter in my last name, so. And then for copper cents, I found this 65 that's in red, pretty much red shape. I don't keep my coppers like a lot of people do. I throw them back into circulation so that the younger generation of collectors can find them. This one is in fairly decent shape, so I do keep my nice red gem quality copper Lincolns. And then just a couple more finds. This one here, I don't know if you're going to be able to see it with my camera or not, is a 91 that, if you can catch it just at the right angle, you can make out what looks to be across the fields of the front of the coin and actually across Lincoln's head. I do believe this coin was possibly struck through either a piece of paper towel or a cloth. I've seen some other ones like this, and this is probably the most predominant coin that I've found with something like that, so I think I'll keep it and maybe take it to my local coin shop and see if they think it's an actual strike through cloth. Cool nonetheless. And on to, let's see, I think I have one or two more finds. And I do. This one here, a 2000 Philadelphia minted Zinken cent. But if you look at the back, the gap between the A and the M that is not supposed to be there is there. So this is actually a 2000 wide AM. I do believe this is the most common of the wide AM varieties, the 98 through 2000. Although I have read somewhere that they have found a new 1993 wide AM variety that sold for quite a bit of money. It's kind of hard to see here, so I'll pop it up on my laptop again and let you take a peek. As you can see, right here, there's a significant gap in the spacing between A and M on America. This is the second one of these I've found. Coin's in pretty rough shape, so I know this variety, or this year, isn't worth a whole heck of a lot of money, but a cool find nonetheless. And for my last one, I found multiple 59Ds, and the only one I found with a variety on it is this one. And of course, like always, like I told you before, I can't pull up a very good close-up of the D, so I will pop it up on my laptop again and show you. This isn't the major RPM variety, but it does have one of the RPMs. Well, evidently I forgot to take the picture, and I don't have my microscope hooked up right now to go ahead and take that picture. So maybe in another video, I've actually found quite a few of the RPMs for 59, including the FS501 Triple D. Maybe I'll make a video on some of those RPMs and post it in a later time. Hopefully you enjoyed watching, and I've given you some good information or knowledge on coins. So until next time, I don't want to steal anybody's taglines, but happy hunting and stay safe, coin addicts.